Bryce and Amanda, did you guys both have a chance to read through what's on the agenda tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
Figured it out. Yes.
Yay! Amanda's here.
Took me a second. I got it.
You're good. And we got Mike. Oh, there's Jacob.
Oh,
Hi, Jacob. Did you get a chance to read through the agenda
I did. Yes.
and all of our 3 items on it?
Yep.
Okay, good. So that should be,
Looked pretty straightforward.
where's our mayor? He's just listening. Okay.
He's listening.
All right, then. Can I get a volunteer we're not going to do a pledge because we don't have a flag, but we will do a reverence.
I can do it. I'll do it.
Bryce, you'll do the reverence? Okay. Okay. We had a really short staff meeting yesterday talking about these 3 items that aren't on the agenda. They're all really cut and dry. Shouldn't be any conditions on any of them. So we'll just have Mike give us the presentation. We'll ask for any public comments. See if we have anybody. And then Shauna will read us any emails that may or may not have come in. And
Yeah, and just so you know, there hasn't been any emails.
there's been none?
No,
Okay.
there hasn't been any. So you'll just call for public comment, and then Mike will see if there's anybody raising their hand for public comment, and then that's it. But as far as I don't have anything.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay, so, yeah, the Presnell subdivision is 2 lots. I think Tracy did mention that it's important that we call for escrow for curb, gutter, and sidewalk in front of the new lot that's being created, which is actually lot 2. Lot 1 is the one that already has a house on it. And so we would just escrow for curb, gutter, and sidewalk for lot 2. And the Jonestown subdivision. In my notes on item number 7, in red, it said, it was underlined, it said, this revision can be made before the final plat is signed. I was informed yesterday in staff meeting that that has been taken care of, so that's not a condition that we need to worry about. It's been taken care of. Okay. So everything on the Jonestown is pretty cut and dry as well. Are we gonna need curb, gutter, and sidewalk escrow on this one as well? Mike,
That one has existing curb, gutter, and sidewalks. So
it's already there, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
So we don't need to worry about that one. And the Ropalato subdivision. Typically this is a parcel that's being created from a larger parcel within family members. And typically there's a land use separation fence that would be required between 2 different uses. So the remainder parcel on the Ropalato subdivision to the west is agriculture. And this new lot 1 is going to be residential. But where it's being among family members, we typically have not required a land use separation fence. And so to be consistent with that, I think we'll continue forward without requiring the land use separation fence among family members.
Who's gonna build on that? Is that one of his sons?
Jaden, I believe Jaden, his son, is building a home there. Yeah. And I think we'll need, are we gonna escrow for curb gutter and sidewalk on that one, I believe?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Item number 11, it says that it's recommended the funds be escrowed, which is consistent with what we've done with all other single lot subdivisions.
There's that note right underneath that paragraph that says, in lieu of curb and gutter, the developer will be required to coordinate with Public Works so that street drainage in front of the lot is adequately addressed. I'm not sure what that meant, but it seemed to pertain to that.
Are you
That's really
talking
just-
about item?
Sure.
Item 11, yeah, there's that line, there's that
Right
sentence
below
that
it.
comes after.
Right. So we'll escrow for the curb gutter and sidewalk. And then the developer will coordinate with Public Works to make sure that water drains and everything is, the front of the lot is adequately addressed. And then if they can't get to that, then I guess we'll have the funds to require them to put in the curb gutter and sidewalk. So we collect the money and it's held in escrow for typically 10 years.
Right.
And then it's returned with no interest, unfortunately. So that's quite an expense that they have to put out, but he's right at the very end of a dead end road.
Right.
So
Well, yeah, I thought it made sense to escrow the funds. I just was wondering if that sentence meant that instead of escrowing the funds, that they would use the funds to deal with the street drainage or something instead.
oh, no, curb gutter, those funds are set aside only for that
Specifically
purpose.
for,
Only
okay,
for that purpose. They'll have to work out their drainage so that this in front of the house is adequately drained.
okay, got it.
So that's a separate deal. So that's it. And it should be easy. Like Shauna said, we don't have any emails from any of our citizens, any comments.
No, none.
We'll call for, they have till 7 o'clock to get it to us, but it's likely that it won't happen.
Sounds good.
So, other than that, we should be fine. Okay.
Hey, Mary, I've got a question. Maybe one of you know, since I've only been here since the first year. That subdivision, I believe it's Green Landings, the one down on 4,000.
Uh-huh.
Has there been any plot approval or anything on that? I just noticed they're starting to work out there, and I saw.
Well,
You know what's going on out there?
Shauna, do you want to jump in there? Green Landings? Last I knew it had a preliminary approval. Or does it have final approval, but it's changed
Mike,
ownership?
correct me if I'm wrong, but Green's Landing is approved. It's the Westview portion of that, which is 2 separate subdivisions, which is not.
Okay, Green Landings is the one on the very corner, and the Westview is the one a little bit further east.
Okay.
Right.
And
I
south.
think Mike might know more about where they are in that stage.
I believe they were approved with some conditions that they work out a few details with Public Works and Engineering regarding drainage and water retention.
And Bryce, to answer your question, it was approved maybe in August
Oh, okay.
last year. It's just been hanging around for a long time waiting for them. I even think, didn't it change ownership once, Shauna?
Yeah, it's changed ownership more than once, I think.
Yeah, since the original people came in, but
Mhm.
it looks to me like now they're starting to do some work in there as well.
Sounds good.
So. Anybody have any other questions or anything we need to talk about?
You know, I'll bring up something from last month. Maybe we kind of, at least I think I learned something on the Nilton one, the Quell Cove. From what I understand, they still haven't done what they're supposed to. I think we probably had to stand a little firmer. If we come to a resolution during our committee meeting, we probably had to, and I got swayed as well. I think we all did. I think it'd just be a lot, because they're still not done.
I think we got caught up in the, and Amanda, I have to apologize to you because you were the one that came forward and said, we need to be firm, and we didn't listen to you, and I'm sorry for that. But-
Which items have not been done?
The, the drainage ditch, I believe has, and the fence. So the coordination between Silver Saddle. I think Silver Saddle was required to do the fence, and Quail Cove was required to pipe that ditch.
So I do have a
That's been
letter of
done.
agreement. They haven't been done, but they do have agreement on the.
Do they?
That's what we were asking for.
Okay.
They've
But I
also
do,
worked with Mike and Cindy Cox on the discrepancy on the property line, and that's also resolved. So both of those items that were in the
Okay.
motion have been resolved.
and they did though, you guys probably know this though, but they actually started filling in that ditch without it being piped. And
Yeah,
Jared caught them. So it's just kind of a little bit frustrating that, we gave them some leadway, and took advantage of it.
And that's also where they were filling in the ditch was in Quail Estates. It wasn't in Quail Cove. So same developer, same area, but just a different area, different subdivision.
Okay. But it still needed to be piped though, correct?
It will be, yes, yeah.
Okay. That's what okay. And I didn't want to, Mary, I'm not calling anybody. I'm just, I'm just as much fault as anybody. So anyway, I thought it was a good learning lesson for all of us.
and I agree, Bryce, and that's what I wanted to tell the planning commission tonight, was that we are going to hold it firm. We are going to be firm. We're not going to waver anymore and let let it go through with conditions. I don't care if they have to wait another month. We need to be strong. We need to stand together and say, no, we're not putting this forward to city council approval with any conditions on it.
Sure.
It's either done or it's not.
Right. Correct.
It's ready to go or it's not.
And
So-
just so you guys are aware, you have the option to not take comment from a developer after initial discussion. So that, that's just on you to kind of shut that down.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was confused by
I
that.
know.
I thought we had closed comments and then Steve continued to comment after that. So I wasn't sure if that was how we normally do things or.
No, once we close the public comment, it's closed and we don't have to take them anymore. Last month, being our first time on Zoom meeting and with all of everything that was new and uncharted waters, I think we were tested and maybe didn't quite pass the way we should have, but now we'll be stronger from going forward. And I don't know how much longer we're going to have Zoom meetings, but we're going to follow the protocol exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Sorry, I'm late, Mary. What happened? Just fill me in real quick.
Well, just last month when we on that Quail Cove Estates, and Amanda made a motion to table it.
Okay.
Because of the time frame, and we knew that city council wasn't going to be meeting again, and the newness of Zoom meetings and COVID and all of those things, we actually acquiesced to the developer's request for us to give approval with conditions.
Okay.
Now it was hard to get those conditions met, and there was some trouble. Eventually Mike tells us that it was done, but there was just some other things that happened. And so we need to be strong as a commission and not put forth any more recommendations to city council with approval subject to obtaining any conditions. It's
I
either-
thought we did condition of approval. Wouldn't even be on the agenda unless it was done.
That was correct. And I don't, and Mike, has it got back to city council yet? Quail Cove?
It'll be at the city council next Thursday. Just
But they
to
have
be
met-
clear,
They have met all of their requirements.
they have met all their requirements. And just to be clear, sometimes we are brought information at the last minute. So when we receive information that there's a concern, sometimes it's the day of the meeting, sometimes it's the day before, which is too late to do anything as far as taking it off the agenda, which is the case with this one. Either way, both items that were in the motion to be resolved before it goes to council have both been resolved.
Okay.
It's difficult when we get those last minute, like you said, Mike, because that doesn't really give us a lot of time to research and find out everything that needs to be considered before we make a decision. So
Does anybody have the time? Is it 7 o'clock?
It's still 6:45, 6:46.
Oh, okay. I can't see a clock from where I'm at. Well, I guess I can. So, do we know anything going forward, Shauna? Have we heard anything about tomato days or any of our planned
No,
events that we usually do?
no, not really. So we're just kind of waiting to maybe see, and we know that other cities have canceled all their things. And then it feels like the minute we try to come up with a plan, there's new regulations that negate the ones we just discussed. So we just kind of try to take it a few weeks at a time. And I think there'll be some discussion in June about where we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Is this COVID issue also holding us up being able to start in with our general plan? Or is that that's going forward?
No, that's going forward, and that will be more in the fall. So we have signed all the documentation with Wasatch Front Regional Council for them to help us, to be our consultants on that. And that's been submitted. So it's just kind of waiting for that grant money to filter through. And then once that happens, we'll get a timeline together, but it should start in the fall and then be finished by the end of the year.
Okay, good. So I heard the governor announce today that we are moving to yellow,
That
from
is
orange
correct.
to yellow,
May 16th, there's a few,
hence the yellow
most of
shirt.
most of the states will move to yellow. There are a few counties that are still orange. I think Salt Lake County and a few others. I can't remember who are on the
Yeah.
list. So
But our area, Weber County, we are moving to the yellow.
to come up with policy, to comply with the county standards when things are changing so rapidly. So we're not really sure where we're going with that.
Yeah.
It's still,
So-
yellow is still, there's still restrictions. So it's 50-person max, 6 feet apart, wearing a mask, those types of things. So
Right.
it's pretty much the same restrictions as orange, just now 50 people. not
Instead of 20 people, you can have 50 people in a gathering.
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
Where the city struggles is, we don't staff or man our parks. And so if you open those up, can you trust that people are going to follow those restrictions? Especially, so you just don't know.
What are the repercussions if they don't follow the restrictions? Is there
I don't
anything?
think there are any technically. I don't think that the sheriffs have let us know how they're enforcing those kind of those restrictions in any way. But it would just be like a public health safety issue. And so when people come to the park or when people come to the city facilities, there's a inherent understanding that they're at a certain level of safetiness, and whether or not we can comply with the sanitary standards that the county has set forth.
But if we opened up the playgrounds at the park and the kids were playing and not keeping their social distance or whatever, I mean, there's no repercussions back to the city, is there?
I don't think so. Not if we, and that's something that we're going to be discussing on Monday, whether it's a sign to let people know that, hey, they're not sanitized. So don't have that perception, or play at your own risk, or the bathrooms are open, but they need to be known that this is how we like they're only sanitized, once a day or, so many times a week. So it's not, there's not an expectation of sanitization that the city can do.
Okay. Well, I couldn't think that there would be any kind of, unless they just fined the city or, something like that, but otherwise.
No, it's about trying to coordinate with surrounding cities so that the infection rates stay low, and no one turns into like a hot spot.
I agree. Okay. Well, Anybody else have anything to talk about? No? Bryce is muted. Amanda doesn't want to say anything.
All right,
So-
I'm muted for you.
So
Mike, noisy.
What's
this is
that?
This is Kendall Presnell. I'm just joining. I've been trying to get on here for quite a while and it just barely let me in. I'm assuming, I don't know if you've already handled my item of business on the agenda.
No. Kendall, the actual planning commission meeting will start at 7 o'clock. This is just what we call our work meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Talk
The
about things.
invitation that I got on email said 6 o'clock. So I've been trying for the last 45 minutes to get on here.
Oh, and nobody wanted you in, huh?
Yeah, nobody wanted me. So now I know why.
Well, you're actually first on the agenda right at 7 o'clock.
Okay. So do I just join back in on this ID?
You can hang out if you want. We're going to start in about 8 minutes.
Okay. I'll just hang out then. Thank you.
You bet. Anybody else on the council planning commission have anything to talk about? Nathan?
No, I assume everything on the agenda is pretty straightforward this evening, correct? That's kind of,
Yes, I'm sorry. I know you were having a hard time getting there from work. All three of these items that are on our agenda, we talked about in the staff meeting, and they all are pretty straightforward. Shouldn't be any conditions on them. Mike will give us the presentation that he always does. And the only thing we need to remember is that these single lot subdivisions, we still will escrow for curb gutter and sidewalk for the new lots, but not the old ones.
okay,
The Presnell and the Ropalato are both single lots being cut out of a larger parcel. And
Okay.
they will all be escrowed for curb gutter and sidewalk. So we're consistent. But other than that, yeah, they've all met all the conditions. They should be pretty cut and dry.
okay, great.
I had one comment, Mary. So the 26th of this month, it's set that we're going to go up to Fremont Island. Is that correct?
Mike? I believe so.
Okay.
That is the plan. They're still working out the logistics on how to get there. There is a sandbar that part of the year at least is exposed from the Antelope Island Causeway to Fremont Island. Right now it's underwater, so they're looking at some options with the Division of Natural Resources boat and the search and rescue boat to get us out there. But we will clarify that and get the information to everyone as soon as we can.
Okay. Yeah, so just keep that on your calendar for 3 o'clock on the 26th. I believe it is. For anyone who's available to go.
I might not make that, Mary. We'll just have to see. Usually I don't get home till 6 o'clock on Tuesdays, so.
Well, okay, yeah, just let us know in advance so that we know who to expect. Jacob, does that sound like something you can have on your calendar?
Yes, I put it on my calendar, so I'm planning on it.
Okay, good. Amanda and Bryce?
I'm planning on it. It's on my calendar.
Okay, great.
Oh.
Okay,
I was just looking, I apologize that I missed last month's meeting. I came down with a fever just before it, and so I was sick in bed that day. But just looking at the minutes, I didn't know whether it was accurate or not, but I assume I can vote to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
is that true, Sean? If you wasn't in attendance, can he still approve them?
Oh, yeah, because you're reading them through draft. As long as I didn't accidentally put your name in the last month's meeting, then you're okay.
Nope, I'm there as excused from the meeting. So
How long should we plan on that Fremont meeting? 2 hours, 3 hours?
I would anticipate about 3 hours to get out there, do a short tour of the island, and then make it back. It's about 11 miles from the Antelope Island Causeway parking area to Fremont Island.
Do we know what the proposed idea is out there? Is this like a residential thing? I'm not familiar with any of it yet.
So they have a lot of different options. They're basically wanting asking the planning commission and the council to visit the island. So going forward, there's a better understanding of the topography and what is actually out there. But they're talking all the way from leaving it the way it is to maybe some residential dwellings out there.
So it's just a matter of having the city leaders or whatever become familiar with what they've got so that when they come and talk to us, we have a better idea of what they're looking at.
Correct.
Just a familiarity kind of trip. But we do need to become familiar with that, because that's not someplace, even though it's part of Hooper, it's not someplace that we all go to very often. So getting in touch with our environment is what we'll be doing.
I was warned also that the bugs are fairly bad out there right now. So if you do go, plan on some bug spray, and they actually said maybe even a net. So
Oh,
I'll go see if I can find some beekeeper outfit or something.
I don't think mosquito abatement goes out there if they build houses.
No. It'll be interesting to see what's proposed for development for that island, because of the insects and access and everything else.
just a little bit of information there. The owners of the island are aware that there are some significant challenges with doing anything as far as development on the island. There's access, there's sewer, utilities, everything like that. And the way they describe it is we know, or meaning them, that this is a process of 10,000 steps, and they're on number 2. So this is something that's not going to happen anytime soon. But the visit is really just to become familiar with the topography, logistics, and so forth.
Looking way into the future.
Yeah, that'll be great. 7 o'clock, people?
2 minutes away.
6:58, okay. Mr. Presnell, you can see we're trying to start right on time.
That sounds good to me.
No last minute emails, Shauna?
No.
Okay. I was listening to I have to apologize again. I was listening to the minutes from last month's meeting, and I heard myself doing this the whole time. So I'm putting my pen away. It was pretty annoying, actually. I'm sorry.
I didn't notice.
I didn't notice either.
No, that's all I could hear was click, click. And I thought, why am I doing that? So anyway, that's the end. Seven?
7.
Thank you. All right. This is the Hooper City Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, May 14th, 2020. We'd like to welcome everyone who's here with us, and our Commissioner Bryce Wilcox has offered to give us a reverence in the fact that we're not all in the same room and we don't have a flag. We are not doing a Pledge of Allegiance, but we would like to have a reverence. Mr. Wilcox.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet here in a planning commission. We ask that we will make good decisions for the betterment of the community and also the individuals who are developing their property. We give thanks to Thee for this free country we live in. We ask that Thou would bless the leaders of our country, that they'll make good decisions and seek Thee for guidance. And we ask this pandemic will soon pass and we'll be able to get back to normal and enjoy the freedoms and things that we're used to. We ask Thy Spirit to be with us, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you. So the first item on our agenda tonight is the approval of the planning meeting minutes for April 9th. Did you all have an opportunity to read through those? And are there any changes that you would recommend? Seeing none, we would entertain a motion then for those minutes to be approved. Someone?
That we approve the minutes on April 9th as written.
As written and as recorded. They're recorded
And-
now, correct?
And as recorded, you're right. Timestamp.
Right. Okay, we have the motion from Commissioner Wilcox to approve the planning commission meeting minutes. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
And it's been seconded by Commissioner Prince. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Okay, those were approved unanimously. The first item on our city business is a public hearing for the final approval for the Presnell subdivision. It's 2 lots located at approximately 5700 South and 6300 West. Do we have a presentation from Mr. Fisher, our Community Development Director?
We do. Let me start the screen here for you. Sorry, there we go. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is for the Presnell subdivision. This is a final plat approval for a 2-lot subdivision on 1.6 acres. This property is in the R2 zone, which is a single family, minimum 20,000 square foot zone. It's located at approximately 5700 West and 6300 South. The entire area is the original lot. It had an existing home on it. The proposal is to divide off the red shaded area into lot number 2 for a new building lot. This is the proposed plat showing the original home on lot 1. The minimum, or the square footage there is 48,207. Lot 2 will be 20,001 square feet, which so it meets the minimum lot size. It also meets the minimum frontage width.
Okay.
Key issues from the staff final plat review. All of the items from the Public Works and Engineering memo have been addressed. One thing that needs discussion is the escrow for the curb and gutter and sidewalk that we talked about in the work meeting. So that will need to be part of the motion if desired. The city staff is recommending final plat approval for the Presnell subdivision.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Is there any questions from our commissioners?
No.
No.
Okay. This is a public meeting, and so we can now open it up for public comment. I would like you to keep your comments to 3 minutes and talk about relevant facts. Is there anyone on board that would like to make a comment at this time? Mike, are you seeing anyone raise their hand? Mr. Presnell, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you have any comments you'd like to share with us?
No, but Mike's presentation was pretty straightforward. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer, but I don't have anything to add beyond that.
Okay.
You're okay with the escrow of the curb and gutter, Mr. Presnell?
Well, could you give some detail on what that entails?
Basically, monies that would go towards curb and gutter, even though they may not have you install it. What is it, Mary? Is it 10 years, I believe? It's an escrow for 10 years?
Yes. The cost today to install curb, gutter, and sidewalk is escrowed and held for up to 10 years. And if it's not If development adjacent to it doesn't happen, then it would be returned to you.
What is the cost per lineal foot for that right now?
I believe the last quote I got from our engineer was $38 a foot, and it's only considered for the new created lot. It wouldn't be for the entire property.
Right. We're
Okay.
only talking about lot 2, not lot 1.
Okay. Yes, I understand that. I don't have any questions about that.
Okay. Okay. Any other public comments?
I don't have any public comments.
Okay, if none, then we'll close public comments. Commissioners, do you have any other discussion? If none, then we could entertain a motion for a final approval for the Presnell subdivision.
A motion for final plat approval for the Presnell subdivision with the condition that we escrow for sidewalk, curb, and gutter.
Okay, Commissioner Prince has made a motion. Is there a second for that motion?
Yeah, I'll second that.
And the Commissioner Draper has seconded that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is passed. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the final approval for Jonestown subdivision, also a 2-lot subdivision at 4450 West, 5500 South. And I would ask our Community Development Director, Mike Fisher, if he has a presentation for us.
I do. So this is for the Jonestown subdivision. It's final plat approval for a 2-lot subdivision on 2.1 acres in the R4 zone. The R4 zone is single family dwelling, minimum 10,000 square foot lot. It's located at approximately 4525 West, 5500 South. The red shaded area, in addition to the blue, is the original property. Near the bottom, you can see the location of the existing home. The proposal is to separate or subdivide the blue area into one building lot. Similar to the Presnell subdivision, other than this one has existing curb, gutter, and sidewalk, so we would not do any escrow on this one. This is
I
the
have a hard
proposed-
time seeing this plat, but can you tell me what the frontage is on that one?
Let's see. Let me see if I can zoom in. Let me pull it up on the plat in the folder. It's a little blurry there. Looks like it's 118 feet. The minimum in
And
the R4 zone is 85 feet.
R4 is 85 feet, okay.
This
Does this
will-
allow,
oh, sorry.
Mike, by putting this lot up in that corner, does it allow for future development in that larger remaining parcel?
It does. In fact, on the plat, it kind of a grayed out area. They've got a location of a future road with future lot lines and so forth, if that ever develops, which is one
Oh.
reason they located the lot where they did. to
I
provide
see.
that.
Yeah, I can see on the plat the future road. Okay,
All right. Key issues from the final plat, staff review. All items in the Public Works and Engineering memo have been addressed. City staff is recommending final plat approval for the Jonestown subdivision.
okay. Is there anyone here that's a representative for this item?
Yes, I am. Tracy Greenwood.
Okay,
Do I have any comments? I don't have any comments. I don't
No
know what I'm doing.
well, I just wondered if you had anything you'd like to tell the planning commission before we make a decision on this?
No.
Okay. Is there any other public comments?
I don't have any public comments that have been emailed, no.
None have been emailed in. Okay. Well, then seeing none, we're going to close the public comment period. Commissioners, do you have any other questions that you would like to discuss regarding this request? Okay, seeing none, then we could entertain a motion on this one for a final plat approval.
I'll recommend final approval for Jonestown subdivision, 2 lots, 4450 west, 5500 south.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, and so we have a motion from Commissioner Platt and a second from Commissioner Wilcox. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. Seeing none, that motion passes. All right, thank you. And our third item on tonight's meeting is also for a final approval for Ropalato subdivision. It's a 1-lot subdivision at 4243 South and 6300 West in Hooper. Mr. Fisher, do you have a presentation for us?
I do. Okay, this is for the Ropalato subdivision. It's final plat approval. It's a 1-lot subdivision with a remainder parcel on 1.1 acres in the R2 zone. It's located at 4240 South, 6300 West. This, the blue area and the red area is the original parcel. They're creating the lot 1 here with a remainder parcel to be developed possibly at a future date. It would not be part of a developed subdivision.
Okay,
This is the proposed plat showing the location of the new lot in relation to the existing home to the south. The lot does meet the minimum 40,000 square feet and 150 foot minimum frontage. Key issues from staff final plat approval. All the items in the Public Works and Engineering memo have been addressed. Land use separation fence will need to be discussed by the Planning Commission and a recommendation made to the City Council. Public Works is recommending that funds equivalent to the cost of curb, gutter, and sidewalk improvements be escrowed in lieu of construction. City staff is recommending final plat approval of the RFR. Excuse me, that should say Ropalato.
That's the Ropalato subdivision, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any questions? Thank you, Mike. I appreciate your presentation.
You're welcome.
Do we have a representative here for the Ropalato subdivision?
Yeah, this is Larry Ropalato. The only concern I have is that fence that goes around there when you bring that up. My son, Justin, is part owner in that remaining parcel with that, and he will be helping me farm it. So a fence is just going to be in the way if you'll take that into consideration. And he's been around farm equipment all of his life, so just want you to consider that.
Okay, thank you. And he's part owner of the land adjacent to it?
Not, I don't know what adjacent is, the one behind it.
To the west.
I went to Roy High.
Hey.
Means the property's touching.
The land
Okay,
that's touching?
yeah, so all that red area is what he is part owner in. Yes,
Okay. And which of your sons is building out there, Larry?
Justin. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
That's it.
thank you. Is there
Yeah,
any other
also-
public?
Oh, just one
Carry
more
on.
thing. The fence would also interfere with the irrigation because the pipe is on his property and the valves coming out of there has got to flow west, and that fence would interfere with it also. Just FYI.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Is there anyone else online that would like to make a public comment regarding this proposal?
I don't see anyone.
No one's
I don't
raising
have
their hand?
No public comments.
And Shauna didn't get any emails. Okay. Seeing none, then we'll close the public comment section of this. Commissioners, do you have any questions or discussion?
I have one question. In the notes that we were sent by Public Works, there's that statement that I mentioned during our pre-meeting. In lieu of curb and gutter, the developer will be required to coordinate with Public Works so that street drainage in front of the lot is adequately addressed. And I was just wondering what adequately addressed means. Like, what is the issue that needs to be addressed there?
I can answer that if you let me.
Okay, please.
So anytime that we have a lot created on a street with no curb and gutter, the concern is there that we actually have some drainage off of the asphalt. So the lot doesn't drain right to the edge of the asphalt, but there's a swell, so to speak, created, a certain number of feet behind the asphalt to provide drainage laterally into a storm drain system. The reason they do that is because of water, if it pools on the edge of the asphalt where there's no curb to contain that asphalt, that's when it starts crumbling and falling apart. So that's just something we look at on Jared's side as far as Public Works, and then on my side as far as when they build a home to make sure that that swell is created and they're not creating a ponding issue near the asphalt.
And there is a storm drain in the road or on the side of the road that it can flow to?
I believe there's just kind of a informal swell along that area. And the main thing is we just don't want it pooling right on the edge of the asphalt.
Okay. So the developer will work with our Public Works people to make sure that drains properly.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? Mr. Ropalato did bring up the issue of land use separation fences. Typically in the past, when a residential parcel is cut out of a larger, like a subdivision, we've got a subdivision being developed that's adjacent to agricultural property. There needs to be a land use separation fence, which is typically a 6-foot chain link or something like that to keep agriculture separate from residential. In this case, where the developer or the buyer is part owner of the adjacent properties, we're asking him, if we were to say to put up a land use fence, we would be essentially asking him to fence down the middle of his properties that he has interest in. So, and where it's family and the same ownership, I don't think a land use separation fence is appropriate at this time. Just so commissioners, you understand how that works.
I agree with you, Mary.
Yeah.
Do we need to put that in the motion or no?
I think we could at least make a mention of it.
We should probably just
Say that we leave it to the discretion of the family.
That it was discussed and the commission is not requiring that land use separation fence. I think that would be wise to put that there.
I got
Okay.
a comment for Larry. Larry, you sure you want Justin to be your neighbor?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's your chance. It's recorded now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Can I make just a comment on the drainage out here where this lot is? There's a lot of drainage going north and a lot going west, and between his house and Hodson, there's a natural little berm right there that all the water is going to flow west. And he and I are the last ones that want any water out near that road. And it's just like my property here. I've made it all flow away from that road because nobody wants a puddle in the front of their house. So it'll be taken care of.
Right. Well, that's good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I know that you'll work closely with the Public Works so that there's no drainage issues in front of the house. Are there any other questions? If none, then we could entertain a motion on this request for a one-lot subdivision for Ropalato.
I can make a motion.
Okay, Jacob?
I move that we recommend final plat approval for the Ropalato subdivision, recommend that the curb and gutter funds be escrowed, and that regarding the issue of land use separation fence, that it not be required by the city, and that that issue be left to the family and property owners.
All right, so we have a motion from Commissioner Draper. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second from Commissioner Prince. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that motion passes as well. That is the end of what we have on our agenda. We can now open the meeting up to any other citizen comments if there are any out there that wish to speak. If so, please limit your comments to about 3 minutes. Mike, is anyone raising their hand?
I don't see anybody.
I have no emailed comment.
And Shauna has no email comments, so seeing none, then we will close the citizen comments and entertain a motion to adjourn this planning commission meeting.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
And we have a motion from Commissioner Draper. Is there a second? And
I'll-
Bryce Wilcox will second it. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you very much, commissioners. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.